Strap on your seatbelt and prepare for takeoff. You're about to go on a journey. It's First Contact Radio with Joshua Poet.
Thank you very much, Dirk, and welcome to First Contact Radio. This is Josh Poet. It is 23rd of August, 2019, Friday. The weekend is upon us. Thank goodness. What a week it has been. What a week indeed. This has been so crazy with the news, with the attitudes that are out there in the world. It's just like we're freaking out on a daily basis here, and it seems to at times be getting worse and worse and worse. Let's take a look at where we're at the moment, what's going on, what we're having to deal with. So yesterday there was an announcement that was made. It was on first on Fox News, and then he was on some of the other networks. I saw him with Chris Como. I don't know if he's on NBC yet or not. But this was Patrick Byrne, Overstock CEO, who just recently resigned. According to the information of this, Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne turned over docs to the DOJ and FBI's Russian and Hillary Clinton probes. Says Overstock CEO delivered to the Department of Justice a number of documents, including emails and text messages in April regarding both the origins of the Russian investigation and an FBI operation to Hillary Clinton with which he was personally involved during the first months of 2016, according to a U.S. official who spoke to SarahCarter.com. Byrne has also confirmed the account. Byrne claims the documents, which have not been made public and are currently under investigation by the DOJ, are allegedly communications he had with the FBI concerning both the Clinton investigation and the origins of the Russian investigation. SarahCarter.com did not review the documents, which are now under review by law enforcement. He approached the DOJ, met with lawyers on April 5th and 30th. The first meeting was without counsel in Washington, D.C. A source directly familiar with the interviews confirmed Byrne's accounts of the meeting. DOJ officials says they could not comment on Byrne's allegations. I gave to the DOJ documents concerning both the origin of the Russian investigation and the probe into Hillary Clinton, both of which I was involved in, and both of which turned out to be less than about law enforcement than about political espionage, Byrne told SarahCarter.com Monday. He noted that the communications will prove that the FBI also had an operation into Clinton Foundation that he was directly involved in. This is going to become the biggest, the greatest political scandal in U.S. history. If we survive it, and if rule of law returns to America, it will be due to one man, Bill Barr, Byrne said. Bill Barr. Several weeks ago, FBI officials told SarahCarter.com that they declined to comment on Byrne's allegations. Byrne said the investigation into Clinton was one of the main reasons he came forward. The reporter first published Byrne's story about his relationship with the now convicted Russian gun rights activist Maria Butina. She pleaded guilty in 2018 for failing to register as a foreign agent in the U.S. and is now serving out her sentence, which ends in October. Byrne claims regarding the Clinton Foundation investigation are not without parallel. According to numerous officials, the FBI had an ongoing investigation. Whistleblower and former government informant William Campbell was interviewed in 2008 by Bureau agents from the Little Rock, Arkansas field office. According to Campbell, who first spoke to this reporter in 2017, he was asked by FBI agents whether donations to the Clinton charitable organization from Russia were used to influence U.S. nuclear policy during the Obama administration. Specifically, he was asked about the sale of 20% of Uranium-1. He also reported in 2018 by John Solomon with The Hill that agents questioned him extensively about claims the Russians made to him that they had routed millions of dollars to an American lobbying firm in 2010 and 11 with the expectation that it would be used to help President Clinton's charitable global initiative while major uranium decisions were pending before Hillary Clinton's State Department. Byrne said that the FBI was also investigating Clinton's charitable organizations in the first half of 2016 and that he was directly involved in one of the operations being conducted by the FBI. He did not give details regarding the operation, saying that it directly dealt with Clinton or whether or not it was pay for play. On Monday, Byrne said on Fox News Networks with David Ossman, revealing his claims about the Clinton investigation. I ended up in the Russian center of the Russian and Clinton investigations. I have all the answers. I've been sitting on them waiting for America to get there. Last summer, I figured it out. What they are all about is about political espionage. It had nothing to do with law enforcement. It was all political espionage. Here's the bottom line. There is a deep state like a submarine lurking just beneath the waves of the Periscope depth, watching our shipping lanes, and a nuclear icebreaker called the USS Bill Barr has snuck up on them and is about to ram midship. That's about to happen, and I think we're about to see the biggest scandal in American history as a result, but it was all political. Everything you think you know about Russia and Clinton investigations is a lie. It's all a cover up, it's all political espionage. Connecticut Attorney John Durham, who's been appointed by the Justice Department investigator Attorney General William Barr, is probing the FBI's handling of the investigation into Russia's probe, and according to several sources, is investigating the full extent of Burns' claims and the documentation he presented in April. So that all sounds well and good. However, I would caution people to not jump to conclusions with this for a number of reasons. Reason number one, we know a lot of the involvements and the things that were going on with the Russian scandals were a lie. That we do know. But according to some of what he was saying, he seems as if he's trying to paint the picture that Hillary Clinton was also a victim in this scandal as well. And that may not necessarily be the case. For anyone who spent any time digging into this, we're fully aware of all of the crimes that the Clintons have been involved with, and we know that there is a lot of shady business around them and their Clinton Foundation. So, as one red flag when I hear him say and talk about how she is a victim in this as well. Maybe, that may be, but red flag goes up when I hear this, when he talks about some of the circumstances that he has all the answers. You got to wonder, how is it that this guy has all the answers? You know, just a few things just to be cautious about. Okay, yeah, I got a guy's making the rounds. He's bringing something up. Maybe it's just to help to lighten the blow of what's going on. He did resign for some reason, and it seems that we need to keep our eye on this. But again, just remember, the deep state is tricky. The deep state is tricky. They've been there for a long while. They're going to try at all circumstances to be able to get out of this as much as possible. And if at this stage of the game they are going to know that someone's going to get caught, maybe they're trying to divert attention from one group to another, and so on. We do know Obama's involved. He's involved at the highest levels of all of this. We'll see how this plays out. Time will tell. Just watch with an open mind. Know that there's some positive things that came out of what he has to say, but we'll see how it all unfolds. Don't jump to conclusions just because the guy did this. Doesn't mean that he went there and told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. He told simply a story on the media that is getting the attention of people. We'll see how it unfolds. Best way to look at it. Never jump to conclusions. All right, Jussie Smollett's back in the news. Former U.S. Attorney Dan Webb has been named as a special prosecutor to look and drop charges against Jussie Smollett. Judge Michael Tuman appointed former U.S. Attorney Dan Webb as a special prosecutor in the case against Jussie Smollett on Friday. Tuman named Webb after announcing he would be appointing a special prosecutor at the end of June, according to a report published by the Chicago Tribune. Webb was appointed to investigate why State's Attorney Kim Foxx's office mysteriously dropped all charges against Smollett. Smollett claimed he was the victim of an alleged hate crime back in January. After investigation, the Empire actor was hit with 16 counts of disorderly conduct for filing a false police report. Smollett was accused of paying two brothers $3,500 to stage the attack. A few weeks after he was hit with the charges, Fox dropped all of the counts, which seemingly had no explanation. Back in June, Tubin claimed a special prosecutor was needed because of the unprecedented irregularities in Smollett's case. He wanted the appointment to restore the public's confidence in the integrity of the justice system. So let's talk a little bit about this. Why were the charges dropped? Oh, there's very good reasons. There's a woman out there who's running for president. Her name is Kamala Harris. And there's a guy out there running for president. His name is Cory Booker. You may know him as Spartacus. Anyway, these two have gotten together prior to this, and they were trying to get a lynching bill passed, an anti-lynching bill. And apparently this bill was stalling, wasn't getting anywhere. So along comes Jussie, and he goes out and he stages this event. We're led to believe that this was something he did on his own accord because he wasn't getting paid enough from his empire, so he was going to raise his stakes. Well, what kind of dumb excuse is that? Who out there is going to say, I'm not getting paid enough by my job, so I'm going to go out there and stage a hate hoax so my company pays me more? No, none of that makes sense. But what you can do is find pictures of Jussie at a protest with Kamala Harris. What kind of protest? Protest about anti-lynching bill. Now, after this event happened, Kamala Harris and Cory Booker were able to go back before congressional uh, groups and represent this bill that we need this. Look what's happening. And because of that, that anti-lynching bill moved forward. All based on a hoax. Kamala Harris's fingerprints are all over this. As a matter of fact, Kim Fox is good friends with Kamala Harris. You can see Kim Fox and find plenty of instances where she is publicly thanking Kamala Harris for helping her. You can find pictures of Jussie Smollett with everyone from Maxine Waters to Adam Schiff to plenty with Kamala Harris. There's even the rumors out there that there might be some family connection between Kamala Harris and Jussie Smollett. Not sure if that's actually confirmed, accurate, but nonetheless, there is a close relationship that is there. You can find pictures of Jussie Smollett in the White House with Michelle and with Barack. And we do know that it was someone from Michelle Obama's connection group that went in and had a conversation that made a phone call and helped to get Jussie off the hook here. So there's much more involved, and Kamala Harris is directly involved with this. Her, Cory Booker, and their old anti-lynching bill. You see, what we have is a situation where those are two very racist individuals. Well, three if you count Jussie. Racist individuals who feel that Americans are so uninformed that they actually believe that this is taking place in this day and age. And then we all know from the stories that this was completely staged, completely hoaxed. Jussie even paid the brothers with a check. He wrote a check, okay? Committed a crime, a hoax, and he wrote a check. We saw the video of the brothers buying the rope, the whole thing. It's nonsense. Racist people trying to push something across to demonize not only Trump supporters, but to also demonize white people. Fortunately, others have seen through this and realize that they're being played and are not liking that very much. So we'll see if this special prosecutor gets to the bottom of what's going on and it actually moves in the direction that it needs to, which is bringing Jussie to justice. He probably thought he was off the hook, but nope. We'll see how it goes. Now, the big news that's going on today is China. President Trump and China. He put out a series of tweets first thing this morning, as he does each and every day. And people are freaking out about some of the things that he has said because they don't fully understand them at all. All right, I'm going to read through some of his tweets as they came in. Our country has lost stupidly trillions of dollars with China over many years. They have stolen our intellectual property at the rate of hundreds of billions of dollars a year, and they want to continue. I won't let that happen. We don't need China, and frankly, we would be far better off without them. The vast amounts of money made and stolen by China from the United States year after year for decades will and must stop. Our great American companies are hereby ordered to immediately start looking for an alternative to China, including bringing your companies home and making your products in the USA. I will be responding to China's tariffs this afternoon. This is a great opportunity for the United States. Also, I'm ordering all carriers, including FedEx, Amazon US, UPS, and the Post Office, to search for and refuse all deliveries of fentanyl from China or anywhere else. Fentanyl kills 100,000 Americans a year. President Xi said this would stop. It didn't. Our economy, because of our gains in the past 2.5 years, is much larger than that of China. We will keep it that way. Okay, so those are very important things that he said, and it seems to be missing the mark when it comes to the people who are reading this, because they think that, oh, Trump's doing something bad. How dare he pull us away from China? First tweet told you China's been ripping us off. Okay, who out there likes to be ripped off? Raise your hand. Nobody. Okay, nobody likes to be ripped off. But that's what's been happening. How many years have we looked at products that say made in China, thinking, why is everything made in China? Well, how about made in America? Okay, we've lost our identity with our products, with what we're doing, because we've put it all in these companies that the leaders before President Trump all thought would a good idea to sell out to. That hasn't been good for us. Hasn't been good for us at all. And we finally have a president who is in there to stop this. So instead of complaining about the fact that he's standing up to China, we should be cheering for the fact that he's standing up to China. In the same way that we should be cheering for the fact that he's standing up against the Fed. But as we've discussed, with the low education that is going to the young people, they're not getting understandings about what the Federal Reserve is all about. In 1913, the Federal Reserve took control of the United States. The Federal Reserve, though, is not a federal company. They are international bankers. International bankers that were in charge of the United States of America. Shortly after the Federal Reserve Act, you have the IRS Act, where now we have to pay these income taxes. America was being ripped off, left, right, center, every way it could be, because of these international bankers that were running things. And this continued on for years and years and years. You know who wanted to end the Fed? A Democrat named John F. Kennedy. Unfortunately, he didn't have the support of people around him to help him do this. And one of the things that led to his demise was that his desire to want to end the Fed. Ron Paul wanted to end the Fed. He spoke for many, many years on that very principle that he was working to achieve. However, just like John F. Kennedy before him, he didn't have the full support that he needed to be able to make that happen. And he didn't have the full power as a president, so that made it even more challenging. But he made a lot of headway. And he informed a lot of people about what was going on with the Fed that was so bad. Now we have President Trump, who is standing up to the Fed. And people who are uninformed, a lot of young people who don't know about this history, who weren't taught this history, they are all upset. Oh, he's fighting with the Fed. How dare he? Again, the Fed is not an American company. It is international bankers that have taken charge of America. The Fed does need to end. That was one of the things Ron Paul was about. End the Fed. Anybody went to a Ron Paul rally? I went to a Ron Paul rally, and those were big cheers going on at that time. End the Fed. End the Fed. But where did they go? Now you've got people complaining that Trump wants to end the Fed because they don't understand what truly is taking place. So the best thing we could do is just be patient to understand that might be something a little bit more than what we know is going on. And if we could do that, I think we'll be okay. However, I think we're going to have a battle as we go, not with these other outside countries so much, but a battle within. Because so many misinformed people in this country are the very ones that are fighting against those trying to help them. Okay? It's education is an important thing. And when people are misinformed, when they're misled, when they're dumbed down, they're not able to make good decisions. Henceforth, the situation that we're in now, a lot of young people are just absolutely clueless because the mind control mechanism, which took place, and if we go back and if we just pinpoint it to when the CIA put into place Operation Mockingbird, if we just look at it from that point there, which was in the early 50s, we've got a mind control mechanism that has been in place using the propaganda techniques of Joseph Goebbels from Nazi Germany. There was confirmation of all of these things taking place in 75 with the church committee hearings that confirmed at that point there were over 400 CIA personnel that were involved with our mainstream media, working to craft a narrative. So you have a lot of people really misinformed, and as kids these days are coming into the world, they're even less informed because they're not teaching these things at the schools. It's discouraged that these kids are learning these things, and unless somebody is going and doing the research on their own, you're not going to find this because they're not going to hear about it normally in society. Heck, adults don't even know about this that have been around for a while. But anybody who's taken time to look at the situation understands what is at stake and understands that the Fed is not our friend, has never been, and we'll see what President Trump can do with remedying this situation. What we need to do is send prayers to him and his family because there are so many forces of evil out there trying to take him down, trying to stop what he's doing. And if only the people realize that he's trying to free us, stop getting in his way. So, those are the things that are going on. Those are the things we need to deal with. We need to look at, maybe understand a little better so that we can be a bit more of being part of the solution than a part of the problem. Would be nice, wouldn't it? It would be very, very nice. And this is kind of playing off of what I was talking about the other day when I was telling you about the curse of Canaan and the Nephilim. The Nephilim were those who were born out of the union of the Watchers and the women of Earth at that period of time. And they were these giants. And after a while, the giants ended up eating the people. And that was problematic because the people didn't want it to be eaten by the giants, but they were. And so they appealed to God, and then we had the flood. Unfortunately, there were problems on the boat because one of Noah's sons, Ham, brought a woman that was from this pre-Adamic race that was tainted with the DNA that had this serpent seed in it. And things continued to evolve forward from there. And as things continue to evolve, we've had more and more problems as the same energies play themselves out in our world today. So here's an article. It's called The Giants of Kandahar and the Lost Race of the Nephilim. It's a lengthy article. I think you might find it well worth your read. I'm just going to get you started on this. It says Steve Quayle spoke of an occurrence still classified by the U.S. government in his popular radio show Coast to Coast. The events allegedly happened in 2002 on a desert part of Afghanistan when a U.S. Army squad went missing. A special ops task force was sent to find out what happened, and the soldiers walked into a ragged mountain trail until arriving at the entrance of a large cave. Pieces of broken U.S. military equipment and gear were scattered all around the clearing. The task force was about to enter the cave to explore its recesses when a 13-foot, red-headed, six-digit, double-toothed humanoid emerged and attacked them. According to the witnesses, the giant pierced one of the soldiers with his long spear, killing him before the rest of the squad could take him down, shooting at his face for 30 seconds straight. The body of the giant was packed and loaded into a helicopter, transferred to a secret location in the U.S. for study. Based on Quayle's story, L.A. Marzulli succeeded in identifying and interviewing one of the members of the task force who actually saw and shot the giant of Kandahar, and the event became known. The soldier said that his squad, on searching the cave, had come around a gigantic humanoid with thick red beard, long hair of the same color. Inside the cave, there were remains of human bones, leading the military to think that the creature was a cannibal. One of the soldiers was impaled by the weapon the giant wielded, a kind of long spear or lance. During the 30-second shootout, according to the witnesses, the USG didn't disclose the event and has no intention to do that in the future because the giants don't match in any way. Explain our world. Said the giant weighed about 500 kilograms, is estimated by the C-130 cargo plane team that transported the body from the pickup location to the United States. The witness remembers that one of the pilots noted a terrible stench and musk of dirt exuding from the cadaver like a man who didn't shower for 10 years. The witness told Marzulli that the odor was more intense than that of a skunk and close to that to a pile of decomposing corpses. The giant wore canvas, animal hide to protect his feet, some sort of moccasins. We searched online, retrieved the original interview. The witness talks details about the encounter with this huge being, which had occurred in a remote area near Kandahar, Afghanistan. Marzulli calls the witness the shooter due to his active involvement in the giant's killing and claims to have interviewed him 3 times on the phone and at different times to check for any discrepancies in his story. Having found none, eventually he was convinced that the event was real and decided to meet the military in person. The meeting occurred in an undisclosed location. All right, there's a lot more to this. There's a picture here. I highly doubt that this is an actual picture of the giant, but it's a mock-up of it, mock-up of the cave, um, and so on. There isn't any interview here, just these pictures and a picture of David and Goliath, bringing to remembrance back to that story as well. So, are there giants out there this day and age? Quite possible. According to the Bible, there were giants. According to the curse of Canaan, there were the giants. Apparently, it was so bad that the flood was part of the process used to try to wipe them out and wipe that evil seed off of the earth. But that didn't happen. So are they still running around? Are they still causing problems? Is there something more going on out there in these countries overseas than what we realize? It is quite possible. In this day and age, with all of the strange events that are happening and prophecy being fulfilled, it seems quite possible that these events would be going on. What's that phrase? As in the days of Noah? Well, this was going on during the days of Noah, the giants. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see where this goes, and but I think all in all, it's a very interesting story, and I think it's in the realm of possibility. Certainly for anybody who's taken time to study the works of the Bible and to see that these stories actually did exist and were written down and understood. So what do? We're caught in a place in time where there's things happening which are very unbelievable to many people. Why would they be unbelievable? Well, because people have lost their faith. People have lost faith in understanding the stories that came before that told some of the truths of what's going on. People have lost their faith in understanding the Bible or even taking time to really look into the Old Testament. They write it off as if it was just nothing really that important that needs to be known. Yet throughout that book are stories that involve giants, human trafficking, cannibalism, same issues, many issues we're dealing with this day. So I think the way that we resolve the situation is, first of all, we have to open our eyes to understand that these times are very significant, and the information that's coming forward, which seems to be coming forward so fast and furious, I think we need to start looking at them from a different perspective to understand that maybe there's something more than what we completely understand or have been taught. Maybe there's something more for us to know that we need to pay attention to. And How did they solve the problem back then? People turned towards God. And maybe that's the whole point of all of this. Maybe all of the bad things are going on because people have turned away from God. You have an entire party in the United States, the Democratic Party, which has made it a point to say that they do not want God as part of their platform. Well, when you remove God from a situation and you're so convinced that that doesn't exist, there is no morality that is there because there's really no moral boundaries that you feel that you need to maintain. If there's no moral boundaries that you need to maintain, that then extends itself out to the idea that there doesn't need to be any physical boundaries either. And if there's no physical boundaries, well, then we have problems because then you have good people having to deal with bad people. And the ideas of the boundaries is sometimes to keep the two separated. Sometimes you have to keep the bad people away from the good people because the bad people just want to do bad things. And in this day and age, bad people want to lie, they want to cheat, they want to steal, they want to murder, they want to rape. Good people don't like that. So the lesson in all of this is we need to turn back to God. Those who haven't turned away from God, congratulations, that's great. You've been part of the solution, helping to hold down the fort, so to speak, to maintain the faith, for others to catch up. And those who haven't, this might be the time to reconsider your position. Because if there's this much evil in the world, it's only in the world because it's been allowed into the world. Because people have allowed it in. They start off with one little idea that becomes a slippery slope leading into the next one and the next one and the next one. And those slippery slopes don't do anything except hurt us. And they lead us into places we don't want to go. So, let us take a moment to close things off today with a prayer. Heavenly Father, I pray that we might open our eyes to see the truths of this world that are being revealed to us, that we might understand the deeper mysteries that we need to understand so that we can move forward as a people, that we may find the strength and courage within ourselves to restore the faith that we have lost, to overcome the doubts and the fears that are projected to us from all directions, and that way we may ever be mindful of the words of your Son, Jesus Christ, as he brought forth the wisdom and the teachings and the messages that we need to understand so that we can move forward in the peaceful world that we would like to have, that has been told to us we would have if we but have the faith and trust in God. All these in Jesus' name, amen. Thank you very much, friends. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for listening to the show. Have a great weekend. Take a break from all of the drama. I'm sure next week is going to be a crazy week as well. They seem to be stacking up on each other. Spend time with your family. Spend time with your friends. Spend time just being good to each other. Too much anger, too much negativity in the world, and that is not helping anybody. We're all Americans here. We're all children of God. We're all part of a human race, a human family. Let's not be divided. Let's learn and find out how we can come together so we could be what we are destined to be. That's it, my friends. Thanks for being here. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you next week. God bless. Peace. I'm out of here. FirstContactRadio.com.